It's been a while since we visited our friends in Sharon Springs. For over 2 centuries, this historic village was both home to rural farmers and a destination for tens of thousands of tourists lured here by the healing waters. Although the spa era has passed, Sharon Springs still has the magic that draws both artisans and farmers to the area. Just outside of the village, overlooking the beautiful rolling hills, is Beekman Mansion. It was built by Judge William Beekman in 1802. The Beekman family lived and died here. Today, the farm is alive again and thriving with crops, chickens, pigs, a herd of goats, and an attention-loving llama named Polka Spot.
Well, we had been looking for a weekend place for some time. We were living in New York City, and in the process of that search, each fall we would choose a different location in upstate New York to go apple picking. And we had read an article in the New York Times about the American Hotel, and we decided, oh, well, we'll go to Sharon Springs this autumn and we'll pick apples at Sharon Orchards, and which we did, and we were staying at the American Hotel. And after we went apple picking, we were just driving around the area, and we drove by this house, and we thought it was a museum because it's so perfect looking, and there's a historic placard by the road, and we stopped and read the placard and then continued on down the road and saw the for sale sign in the yard. Well, when we originally bought the place, we really intended it to be a weekend getaway from the city. But as we spent more time up here and met all of the amazing people in the area, the craftsmen, the farmers, we just grew to love it more and more. And we started a small business making goat milk soap with our partner Deb McGillicuddy, and it's just grown from there. And what we're trying to do now is try to involve as many artists and local businesses as possible so that we can really contribute to the local economy as much as we can. Well, raising goats came to us serendipitously as well. Literally the first week that we were here, we had a note, someone handwrote a note, slipped it into our mailbox and said, my name is John, and I grew up in the area on a dairy farm, and I have a small herd of goats, and I would love to bring them to the Beekman and be your caretaker and your farmer. And so we interviewed him and loved him, and appreciate what a great job he does with the goats, and that's how we got started with goat farming.
Just trying to find my way back home. Just trying to find my way back home.
Standing on the steps here at Beekman Mansion and looking over at those hills is a little bit like being in Ireland. Speaking of Europe, did you know that the jack-o'-lantern as we know it originated there? Because they didn't have pumpkins in Europe. So what did they use to make their jack-o'-lanterns? But beets and turnips. Halloween is just around the corner, so the ideal place to spend some time, as I just did, is in a crypt like the one behind me. Now, when I went in there, I thought for sure I would see caskets that were filled with bones, but I found out another bit of trivia. Way back in the olden days, when people died in the wintertime, their bodies were stored in a crypt. Then, when the earth thawed in the spring, they were taken out of here and buried. So I learned the difference between a crypt and a mausoleum. A crypt is a temporary resting place, and a mausoleum is an eternal resting place.
To learn more about the exciting things happening at Beekman Mansion and to see their line of goat milk soaps and artisanal cheese, visit beekman1802.com.
Quiet, proud, and strong, hearts that reach out so long, so far to help each other along. Well, we all share something special here in this valley that's our home. Just as sure as the Mohawk rolls along, I'll never be alone, making this valley my home. I'm so proud to call it my home.
We heard from Margie at My Sister's Place Cafe that the overgrown lot next to her restaurant had been transformed into a peaceful sanctuary. Artists Peter and Marguerite from Chartwell Studios here in Sharon Springs have exchanged their services, painting the magnificent mural in Fort Plain. In return, Old Oak Environmental Landscaping has cleared, landscaped, and built a labyrinth and tea house designed by Peter. Come walk the labyrinth and enjoy a complimentary cup of tea or coffee today at my Sister's Place Cafe. Open today from 8 to 3 on Beechwood Road in Sharon Springs. When you dine at restaurants here in Sharon Springs, you'll enjoy local produce from local farmers, like the Denali Farm, known for their maple syrup and also for their farm stands. This one is located right in downtown, now offering up a bounty of pumpkins, gourds, and squashes.
If you go down to the railroad tracks, follow them away.
We travel up Chestnut Street to another family farm, Sharon Orchards. Here they grow nearly 4 dozen different varieties of apples. And you know it's apple pressing time because you can smell the sweet cider.
This is an apple orchard, but back in the old days it was a dairy farm. Back then, farmers would have on their property orchards to have apple trees to provide food to their families. This apple tree is over 100 years old and it is still producing apples. Wow.
Now you wanna live without me, girl, that be tough.